I haven't made a cold call since I founded the Cobble Group in 2018. I would imagine Logan probably has done something very similar, considering how we have decided to build our commercial real estate brokerage businesses. So, tonight, we're going to be talking to you about how to attract $1 million plus listings without cold calling or buying leads. It doesn't matter if you are brand new to commercial real estate or if you've been in commercial real estate for a little while, but you just want to learn how to not have to cold call and hit those phones all the damn time. We're going to be diving into what you should be doing tonight. My name is Tyler Cobble. I am a commercial real estate broker, investor, and developer based out of Nashville, Tennessee. And more importantly, I am the co founder of the Brokers Mastermind, a commercial real estate brokerage educational platform unlike anything else out there. Basically, Logan and I created everything that we wish we had when we were first getting started as commercial real estate brokers. Logan, I'm going to turn it over to you, man.
Yeah, my name is Logan Freeman, based here in Kansas City, Missouri. Have been a part of the acquisition and managing and brokering of over $450 million of real estate now. That spans around 2,000 apartments, 600,000 square feet of commercial space, ranging from hotels to retail shopping centers, industrial properties, self-storage, contractor garages, and we are currently actually working on building over 225,000 square feet of industrial here in Kansas City. And I am excited to talk about how we have generated this top of the funnel lead mechanisms to actually bring those types of opportunities, not just to myself, but to many people who have joined my firm and our firms tonight, and discuss how we pass those leads off. So if you're sitting there trying to figure out, what do I do? How do I make myself a little bit more different and actually gain market share? You're in the right place here tonight. We've done it and we're doing it on a regular basis.
Yeah, Logan and I were playing phone tag the other day. And when he finally called me back and we connected, he was like, "Oh, sorry, man, I've been busy. I just walked out of a meeting with a guy that has 32 acres that he's looking to subdivide." And I was like, "How are you finding leads for these guys?" And he's like,
Mm,
"It's all in LinkedIn. It's all in the
yeah.
power of really what we're going to be sharing with you tonight." Because I thought about that. I was like, we have to make sure that other commercial real estate brokers know about this because I don't see a lot of them doing it. And the ones that we've taught how to do this in the Brokers Mastermind are absolutely crushing it. There's
Yeah.
a new way for top brokers to get premium listings on Autopilot. You know, cold calling isn't dead. It doesn't matter what anybody says, it still works. But that's not the best way for every single broker out there to build their business. There are people like Logan who have taken a completely different approach utilizing LinkedIn. Logan, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, look, nobody loves to cold call, and if you say you do, you're lying. And my first 3 years in business, I was sitting in front of a desk, making 265 cold calls a day on an old phone that I had to pound in the phone numbers and then type into a CRM system all of the notes, and like that just takes brute force. And there's just got to be. It doesn't matter how much you love what you are selling, the product, the service. Trust me, I didn't love what I was doing at that point, but I knew that it was a skill that I needed to learn, right? And really the skill is actually the discipline that it takes to pick up the phone and do that consistently on a regular basis. But I was like, there has got to be a better way. Why are these other brokerages, why are these other salespeople crushing it? Well, this was honestly before online platforms. I was making cold calls in 2012, 2013, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, everything. That wasn't what it was today, right? And so I thought about, what are they doing differently that are getting them into the right rooms? Well, they were actually going to networking events. They were building a brand. They were building authority in the marketplace so that people were talking about them when they were going to conferences or they're having calls. Hey, you're dealing with X. You need to talk to Tyler, or you need to talk with Logan. And that same framework now is actually easier than ever to get started. But here's the key. The key is there's so much information out there now. We used to be in information asymmetry where brokers and salespeople had all of the information. We have then moved to information parity where online has allowed everyone to have access to the same information, to where we are now, which is information overload. There is too much noise, and how do you cut through it and stand out is exactly what we're going to be talking about tonight. And that's what I've tried to do on LinkedIn, and take the same approach that Gary Vaynerchuk has with jab, 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 right hook, right? I'm coming in for the hook. It's education, 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 and then hit them with the sales pitch at the end. Because if you do it the right way, then it doesn't feel like you're selling. It feels like you're educating and you're consulting and you're advising. And that's what we try to teach and what we do.
That's exactly right. So if you are a commercial real estate broker, or maybe you're a residential real estate agent that is looking to get started in commercial real estate, and you're just thinking to yourself, there's got to be a better way. Maybe you want to scale into higher end listings, right? Obviously, the bigger and better deals, the more fun you're going to have, the sexier the listings become, and the higher the commissions are, right? That's why we all get into
Mm.
this. Maybe you're tired of chasing leads or cold calling. I remember when I used to have to cold call, and man, just thinking about those days makes me sweat. Not fun. And maybe you want a more predictable inbound system. One of the worst aspects of being in commercial real estate brokerage is that you're only as good as your last closed deal, which means that after you close a deal, you've got to get back to pounding the phones because you don't
Mm.
know where your next deal is going to come from. So, if that's the case, and you're tired of cold calling with no return, you're getting ghosted by online leads, and you're competing with every other agent online, maybe you're just feeling stuck like you're chasing the same business as everybody else. By the end of this training, Logan and I are going to show you how to build real authority in your market. Logan and I have both done that, right? If you
Mm.
think of Kansas City, you can't not think about Logan Freeman. If you think of East Nashville, and I'm not going to claim all of Nashville, but if you think of East Nashville, you can't not think of the Cobble Group, right?
That's right.
If you want to, you'll know how to attract high-end property owners automatically. It's all about brand positioning and authority building, and of course, how to confidently convert warm prospects into listings. That's the biggest thing, right? Yes, you get the conversation. We're going to teach you how to actually convert them into a listing. Logan, talk to us about what we're going to be covering today.
Yeah. So number one is we've talked a lot about this audience building and authority ladder. There's a framework where it's called local star power. You have to be able to create this persona that you are larger than life, and that everyone, if they're operating in your niche market, in your marketplace, they have to talk to you. So that first part is really talking through the authority ladder. How do you build it? How do you cut through the noise? And how do you lead with data and statistics that are going to get people to actually listen to you? Number two, where are you driving these folks to, right? Like, you can't just put all this information out into the internet and social media and not have somewhere that you're capturing leads. I cannot tell you how many agents and brokers that we have trained through this system that say, no, I do not have a lead magnet. I actually don't know what that is, right? And so there is a big opportunity. If you have these pain points that people are talking to you about on a regular basis, prime example that we're going to go through tonight, everybody wanted to know, where do I invest in Kansas City? What areas am I supposed to be looking for? What do I need to look out for? And I was having the same conversations over and over and over again. I said, you know what? I'm going to build a whole course just on investing in Kansas City. And so now I have this whole funnel where people go through. And if you're interested in Kansas City and working with me, you go through this funnel. I can see that if you've gone through every single email, how many you've opened. If you looked at the 50-page ebook that is waiting for you at the end of the 7 emails, if you opened it, if you clicked it, and if so, I get an email say, hey, John over in North Kansas City is highly interested in working with you, and here's why, right? And so that's number two. But what do you do when you get that lead, right? Because yeah, they've shown interest, but like, how do you actually take the local star power, the information and education that you have built with them, and actually create credibility for them to get ready to work with you, whether that be finding their next investment property or looking for their office space to lease, or hey, I have $35 million worth of real estate. My kids don't want it. I need to start doing some portfolio planning. How do you build that credibility and actually hand that off and make sure that you're taking the next step? That's what we're talking about tonight.
Logan is the king of lead magnets. It's amazing. We had a call for the brokers mastermind yesterday. Gosh, it feels like it was 2 days ago, but it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I mean, on the spot, he was coming up with lead magnets just based on our conversation and literally building them during the call.
Hmm.
Pretty wild to see. And then, of course, he's texting them out to everybody. Um,
Yeah.
that takes practice, that takes skill. And it's something that, Logan's also willing to share. He's like, hey, man, take my playbook and copy it. So,
Yes.
number one, let's talk about the authority ladder. You've got to position yourself as an expert in your niche. This is a dead horse that I will beat until the end of time. But if you are not on social media, utilizing a free soapbox or just leaning into some sort of strength that you may have, that's your blue ocean in a red ocean market. What are you doing? Right?
Mm.
People list with those who they trust, right? And
Yes.
those who look like an expert. One of the most amazing things about being found on social media and being the authority that is actually sharing the content is you don't have to be the best in the world to get all of the business, right? This somebody told me this when I was in high school, and it's really stuck with me ever since because I grew up playing guitar. I love it so much. And one of my like older mentors that play guitar told me, the greatest guitar player in the world will never be discovered because he plays by himself in his room. I was like, man, how powerful is that? Like the greatest guitarist ever won't get discovered because he's not sharing it with other people. You've got to get out there and share this knowledge. It's so important. And there's multiple levels of authority. Logan, walk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, before someone lists $1 million property with you, they're asking within their heads and themselves, do I trust this person? Do they know what they're doing? Right. And so the authority ladder is how you climb from the unknown to the agent that they feel that they're compelled to call first. I think about it like the old refrigerator magnet, right? Your HVAC goes out. Who are you calling first? It's whoever's refrigerator magnet you've got on your refrigerator. You got to be the refrigerator magnet for the brokerage in your community, right? It's not about being the loudest. It's about being seen as the go-to in your niche. And so many folks are like, hey, is it quality or is it quantity? And I always say, well, you're not doing either. So why are you asking me that question? Let's start with quantity first. Let's get you to a 2 to 3 to 4 times a week getting some content out there. Your quality is going to increase because you don't just get as good as Tyler on video by just turning on a camera and starting. You have to do hours. I mean, I couldn't, you know what? Tyler's content's been watched over 37 years on YouTube. 37 years worth of views on his YouTube. Okay. People aren't just watching that because he turned on a camera and he flipped the switch and just turned it on. That's years and hours of practice and repetition. It's the same thing. So we get to the quality after we start getting the quantity out there into the marketplace. And I'll tell you, I was just posting the other day about residential subdivisions, and somebody reaches out to me on LinkedIn and said, hey, Logan, I called you because I heard you're the residential subdivision guy. Guys, gals, I have never done a residential subdivision in my life. I have 3 posts on LinkedIn that talked about residential subdivisions because I saw some articles and I thought it was interesting. And I had a lead and a 2.5 hour meeting this week with a guy who got 32 acres that Tyler was talking about. That's awesome, right? You don't have to necessarily be the leader in that space, but that's a prime example of just using some quantity and getting some content out there. Now, I had a subject matter expert with me in that meeting, and I had him there walking him through the whole process, right? I wasn't acting like I knew exactly what I was doing, but I knew if I could get that door open, there's an opportunity. And now we're working on, 140 home site project in South Kansas City. So there you go. That's how you climb up that authority ladder.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I mean, look, when I first started my commercial real estate brokerage, it was 2018. I decided to move to East Nashville, right, and go all in on that side of the market, right. I built up my local presence by getting involved in the chamber, by joining the historic East Nashville Merchants Association, by knocking on every door, by going to every real estate agent's like residential real estate agent lunch and learn, and presenting on commercial real estate. I became a local presence, right? Then, because I was the one talking about commercial real estate all the time in every single one of these meetings, and people saw me over and over and over again, I became the niche authority, right?
Mm.
But it wasn't until I started sharing that knowledge online that I became a market leader, right? It's all about packaging it up and just teaching other people how to do this. Think about who your ideal demographic is. If it's, owners of office buildings, what kind of content are they consuming today? Can I refinance my office building? Somebody needs to write a blog post on that or do a YouTube video,
Mhm.
an entire TikTok series just around that one topic alone. I promise you, you'll get a lot of office owners that may need to sell their properties. So, talking about how you move up the ladder, local market updates, right? I started off with a blog just sharing what was going on in the commercial real estate market. I learned that tip from Chad Griffiths. Some of y'all may know him. He's the industrial real estate guy in Canada. Like everybody knows Chad. He's the man. Also, he just released a book here recently. Go check it out. It's industrialized. It's on Amazon. But just start sharing local market updates. You could do LinkedIn Lives. Logan is crushing that here recently. He's doing them all the time. Or you could even do interviews with other industry professionals that are complementary to you, right? Think about civil engineers or contractors or commercial real estate attorneys. Tap into their networks as well. And of course, showcase testimonials and case
Mm.
studies, even if you're borrowing them, right? You don't necessarily have to have them on your own. If you're a junior broker and you're working with a senior broker who just closed something, go share that story. Logan, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, this doesn't have to be complicated. Creating a monthly market update is easier now than you've ever compiled. Like we give real world examples. Last night, we were able to do deep research utilizing ChatGPT and Perplexity AI. And we generated a market analysis of Kansas City, Kansas for a sale proposal that we were putting together. And in 17 minutes, it had done 28 different sources of research and compiled traffic counts, key demographics, and all of this key information that we needed. We then took that and we added it into a source in a resource that if you guys work with us, you'll have to create a market report in less than 5 minutes. So, and it was professionally done, branded, and completed, and it's incredible. You can do that now. And one of my favorite ways to do this is my proprietary information. That's how you build authority. It's built through consistency and visibility. But if you have proprietary information, you can now take the notes that you're taking through conversations that you're having with property owners, with developers, with lenders, with appraisers. You can compile that into a market research and have an actual report done in less than 15 minutes. And if it's got data, it'll build charts and graphs and all these different components. You have a PDF to share. Now you can put it on LinkedIn. You can send it out to your email newsletter. It is faster and more efficient now than ever, and we are utilizing it across every facet of our business, which makes us seem, we're a 5-person boutique firm, like a large firm in Kansas City that has a huge marketing department, and we can teach you how to do all of that by yourself for very cheaply.
Yeah, it makes you look very impressive and like you're batting well beyond your league. Emily Benedict joined the Brokers Mastermind in October of 2024, and we helped her tap into her existing network. Right, she had started off as a council member, and she was able to utilize a lot of her experience from working with developers, working with investors that were going through the rezoning process or the entitlement
Mm.
process, and we helped her close her first deal ever in 3 months, which was $1.4 million. Right? I mean, you run 3% on $1.4 million as a commercial real estate broker for your first deal. Absolutely killer. I made $40,000 my first year. I'm pretty sure she made more than that on her first deal.
Mhm.
So awesome to see. Um, and that's the thing. Like, you take these principles and you apply them, and you will see success. It's all of the stuff that I had wished, like, I wish somebody had given me this roadmap when I was first getting started, because I just thought, "Oh, you gotta sit down, figure out who the corporate real estate guy is, give them a call, and hope they say, 'Yes, let's talk about your shopping center.'" It was not nearly as fun as sending out a couple of emails, getting some of your already existing relationships interested in buying commercial real estate, and then closing a deal 3 months later. The second secret is building a lead magnet funnel. You've got to build a proven system for getting property owners to come to you. There are so many different ways to do this. I like to compare it to hunting and fishing, right? Door knocking, networking, cold calling. That's hunting, right? You've got to go out and you've got to actively contribute to whatever that is. But fishing, you don't necessarily have to do anything active, right? So you can set a bunch of fishing lines and go hunting. And if you don't get anything hunting, maybe you come back, you got a couple of things on the fishing lines. Well, those fishing lines are things like your Instagram account, your blog, your newsletter, your LinkedIn, your YouTube, your TikTok, your podcast. There's so many different fishing lines that you can throw out there. You just got to get out and do it. The problem with traditional lead gen is that you're dealing with cold leads. Logan, when you call people and they don't know who you are, which I mean, come on, who doesn't know who Logan Freeman is nowadays? But when you call people and they don't know who you are, how do they act?
They act surprised, they act upset, like you're irritating them, and they don't want to talk, and they try to get off the phone and end the conversation as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's right. Or maybe they're just tire kickers. They just want to waste your time because they just want to see, I'm bored. Let's see what this guy will do for me. Will he put together a market report? Will he go ahead and give me a free appraisal on my property? Happens all the damn time. And of course, we're going to talk about follow up fatigue. Hey, just call me next month. Call me next year. Call me after tax season. Call
Mhm.
me after summer break. How tired do we get of hearing all of that? It happens all the time, but it's because you're interrupting their day instead of giving them the breadcrumbs to come to you instead.
Yeah,
So
I want you
inbound,
guys to imagine that what it looks like to have sellers opt in, raising their hand because you gave them something valuable. That's the lead magnet funnel, right? And it's the difference between begging and attracting. A prime example of this is everybody's heard of the broker opinion of value. I need to get 5, 10, 15 BOVs done. How about flipping that on its script and saying, hey, I utilize an artificially intelligent underwriting software that I can get you a property performance audit done, analyze with recent sales comps and lease comps, and send that back to you in less than 24 hours. Nobody else is doing that in your market. I guarantee it. We have the tools and the resources, and we brought the CEO on of this artificially intelligence underwriting company to our group to speak on how they're doing this. How about putting that on a QR code and on your web page and on your business cards, and everybody you hand it to, you go to a direct link that goes to them where they can actually input the financials when they bought it, the information about the property, and now that's already uploaded into your AI underwriting software. You get a notification, and now you're off to the races on a property performance audit, not a broker opinion of value. Now that is valuable, not only from a speed standpoint, but a positioning standpoint. That is a lead magnet funnel in and of itself.
it's so much more powerful, right? Because you're actually getting something in return, honestly, for all of the work that you're putting in. And that's how it should be, right? So here's what you're doing when you're going through inbound. You're creating a lead magnet. That could be your local market report. That could be, hey, here's 7 deals that closed in this market last year. That could be, why is office space going to crush it in 2026? I don't know, but I'd probably download that because I want to know why this person thinks that, right? You send them to a landing page. You got to find a way to get them to that page first. They opt in, you nurture them over email. Logan mentioned this earlier. He's got like a 6 email or 7 email campaign, and then you get them on a discovery call, right? Let's talk about the market. Logan, can you run us through kind of an actual real world example of a system like this that you have set up? Maybe even your KC deal finder?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a great example where people are like, hey, Logan, I'm interested in Kansas City, but I've never really studied the market. Can you give me an idea of what's going on in Kansas City and why I should be interested? It truly does feel like a flyover state. Other than Taylor Swift and Patrick Mahomes, I don't know what's going on there. Yes, I can. And I'm going to do it over the next 7 days. So I'm going to start with the 7 pain points that I know all of these people have. One, what is Kansas City? Is it in Missouri? Is it in Kansas? Is it in both? That's the answer. It is in both. But how about where I should invest in each one, right? Johnson County, Kansas, for example, is an area that everybody wants to be in because of the school districts and the demographics. But inside of Johnson County is 7 submarkets. And so now I have broken down those submarkets to say Merriam, Lenexa, Overland Park, Olathe, Kansas City, Kansas. Here's all the different submarkets inside of Johnson County that you need to look at. And here are the 5 different things from an investment standpoint that you should be thinking about in there. So that's email number one, is giving them an overview of the area. Email number two, hey, you got to start thinking about your team. Who's your team going to be? Property management, lenders, appraisers, contractors, all of the different components to getting your deal done. Insurance, right? Here's your team. So I actually put trusted referrals in email number two. Hey, that's the law of reciprocity. I've given you information about the market. Now I'm opening up my network and getting you involved in those folks. And that's twofold. One, I'm giving you something, but two, now you're contacting my trusted referrals. And now I can see if you've talked to them. And if it's a lender, are they able to get financing? So now I'm learning something about you, right? Number three, who's going to do your asset management? How are you thinking about that? Is that you? Do you need a third-party firm? Number four, focusing on the underwriting. So we actually give a case study of a deal that was closed. Number five, now we're going through a property inspection report, the dreaded property inspection report. Here's what everybody is looking for when they do a property inspection report. And I give an example of actual inspection report that comes back. What was negotiated? What wasn't negotiated? Where did we land? How did the negotiation go? That's number five. Number six is a conclusion of bringing everything together. Steps 1 through 6. And then number 7 is going to be a 50-page ebook that brings all of that together in much more detail that you can click and download. That is a prime example of a lead magnet, a landing page, email nurturing, and that leads to discovery calls with people who are actually interested.
It's so much value, so much value. So what types of lead magnets work, right? You've got what's your building really worth in today's market,
Mhm.
right? You could do what Logan was talking about and do a true property assessment. 7 common pricing mistakes in your area, 7 common pricing mistakes in Nashville, right? What are property owners getting wrong with their properties? And then, of course, checklists, guides, calculators. These are all relatively easy to create because you are living this day in and day out. You just don't think about how valuable this could be to somebody that doesn't do this all the time. Logan, you worked with Nathan Roberts on actually implementing some of this stuff. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, this guy's awesome on social media. One thing I have to keep Nathan from not doing is editing all of his videos because he's such a perfectionist in regards to how his videos look. I'm like, Nathan, I need you to shoot the content and outsource the editing of the videos. I know you enjoy it, but I need you to get on the phones, right? This guy is just fantastic. So, for example, we're out walking a property the other day and he brings his laser measure. I wish I had a photo of this, but we're in a flex industrial building built in 1920, and the property tax assessment and all of the information that we could see says it's 2,400 square feet. But I'm looking at this building and I'm like, there's no way this is only 2,400 square feet. So we're in there shooting laser measures, and he's getting the measurements. And I said, hey, hold on, stop right there, snap a picture of him right there. He said, what was that for? I said, that's for your social media because people want to see you in action in the field on what you're doing. So now we're taking that. He has a drone and we got some drone footage and we put all of that together and we're going to showcase to a buyer on Saturday. So that was on Friday. By Saturday, we had a full proposal with drone footage, with the laser measurements, with the site utilization breakdown for industrial outdoor storage, all put together and sent out to 3 buyers that he can then go follow up with because he's been building this buyers list for some time. So that's a great example of how just to use things that you're doing out in the field and then transitioning those into lead magnets and saying, hey, here's actually what commercial real estate is and how we're going to add value to you as an out-of-state purchaser. We're boots on the ground. We're taking laser measurements. We're droning this video. We're seeing if there's one phase or three phase power. Anybody here on the call know how to do that? Check the electric pole outside of the building. If there's one box, it's single phase. If there's three boxes, you got three phase power. There you go. There's your value for tonight. If you don't learn anything else, now you've learned how to check out your phase power. Why does that matter? Well, join the broker's mastermind and we'll tell you why that matters, because that really does matter in the value of the property. So we're taking real world things that we're doing in the field on a regular basis. Nathan is then taking that and creating social media videos, a day in the life of a commercial real estate broker. Everybody wants to just see, what do you do on a regular basis? It starts with him at the gym. It goes all the way to being on site at the property. He's got a picture of his bag that's got his camera in it. It's got his laser measure. It's got his, his remarkable. It's got all of his stuff. That's like, what do you put in your bag as a commercial real estate broker? What are you taking with you at all times? He's got his drone in there, right? I mean, that's really important. And he said, well, what do I do with all this information? I said, look, this is great social media content. But what we're going to do after we sell this building is we're going to put a case study, and we're going to have a step-by-step process that you're going to show from beginning of a site evaluation all the way down to the marketing materials. There's going to be a 15-page presentation that says, hey, every flex industrial owner in our database, we're sending this property out to them. Here's what we did when we first showed up. 75 days later, we closed this transaction at this price point, and here's what our sale proposal was. And that is a great example of what can be a lead magnet. So what would we name that? Okay, well, we would name that how to price your property correctly, how to sell your flex industrial building in 75 days or less, right? That's a perfect lead magnet. That's not only going to attract new buyers because they're seeing what we're doing, it's also going to go out all to the owners in the area. So we'll do a reverse skip tracing process that will go in a 3-5 mile radius of that property in that industrial subtype. We'll get all the property information. We'll print that out and we'll mail that to them. We'll have cold calls sent to them. We'll text message them, and we'll email them in a digital marketing campaign on a regular basis. And that's creating the funnel, the reverse funnel that we're trying to create by using a case study.
Yeah. When it comes to telling these stories, sharing these stories, just keep this in mind. Show, don't tell. People love to feel like they're going through that process with you, and that's why Nathan's social media works. Okay, so we've set you up as the authority in your local market. You've created lead magnets to start getting these buyers, sellers, investors, whoever it is, into your inbox. What do you do now? How do you actually handle that conversation? Well, that is what our credibility handoff script is really designed to do. And so everybody that sticks around to the end is going to get a copy of this. Because once you have gotten those people in, that's the most crucial part of the conversation, right? Is actually getting them on the phone and converting them into a listing, right? Everything else is for naught if you don't close this part of the deal. If you want to turn casual interest into signed listing agreements, you've got to close the gap between interest and commitment. Sure, they're interested. How do you pull them onto the other side with you, right? This is where a lot of agents start to lose leads, a lot of them, because they're not able to actually close the deal. You've got to build the bridge. You're not selling, but you're transferring trust, right? It's not a sale. You're helping these investors make the most out of their investment. If you are handling this pitch correctly, there is no investor, there is no seller in the world that wouldn't want to hear you out on that, right? Logan, walk us through the anatomy of this script, because you've got this and several other scripts that we will be giving away as a freebie for everybody that's attended this webinar.
Look, 99% of commercial real estate brokers answer the question, how is the market, with adjectives and not statistics. So when you ask me how the market is, I'm going to first ask you another question. What part of the market are you talking about? Because let's define what that means. I'm not just going to put some broad general feedback of sentiment that I feel and people feel like it is. So I'm starting with statistics, right? It's extremely important. So one of the anatomy of the scripts that we're going to be sharing with you basically goes into an example of saying, okay, the last 90 days, here's what I know on the multifamily market here in Kansas City. How many active listings, the price per door, what's the occupancy, what's the cap rates, right? Okay, that's all good data, but data itself is not good enough. It has to have a story behind it. So that script is going to bring that data to life and help you tell that story, all the way from just raw numbers and then how to use it on cold calls. But the credibility script is really important, and it first starts with a personalized introduction. Okay, and this is really simply, we don't have enough time to go into this because each one of these anatomies of this script is a session. Okay, I mean, the personalized introduction by itself is a 60-minute conversation to have with you about getting your personalized introduction down. What do you say when you call somebody, right? Well, I'm going to give you a little piece of information that I have found utilizing many, many years of cold calling. That is just the simple line right here. I say something along the lines of, hey, well, you know how a lot of property owners are unsure if it's the right time to sell, what their building is actually worth, or, how to get serious buyers without wasting time. Well, what I do is help commercial owners like you navigate that process with clarity. And I say it just like that. I slow down. I lower my voice inflection. Chris Voss taught us that with Never Split the Difference. I'm matching their energy, their tone. I'm not overly excited going through. You know what I do? I help owners call and figure out how to do this and that, and I'm going to help them sell this and that. No, that's somebody that has nervous energy. So it's, you know how, well, what I do. That statement replaces a traditional pitch with empathy and with positioning. You're highlighting common challenges that they likely identify with, and you're positioning yourself as the guide rather than the salesperson. That's step number one. You got to reframe this conversation. Okay, you got to get it started the right way. Number two is getting this status frame created. We talked a little bit about the authority, the local star power. Even though I am Mr. Kansas City, not everybody I call knows who the heck I am, especially that 65-year-old who's not on LinkedIn. So I say something along the lines of, hey, I'm not here to pitch you on anything. This conversation is about giving you clarity around your options. This is a status frame. It establishes that you're an authority. You have value, but you're not desperate to win their business. You're communicating that this is a mutual evaluation, not a one-way sales attempt. It lowers resistance immediately. You have to do that very quickly. It makes you seem in control and selective, which increases your perceived value. There's a lot of psychology around cold calling and getting conversations right. And lastly, it signals to the prospect that you're here to help and not sell. Okay, so if we've effectively got our positioning statement out there, we've reframed, we've ensured that we have our status frame, then we can move to our first kind of real questions, which is our intent and our problem awareness questions. You say something along the lines, hey, John, out of the curiosity, what's got you open to looking at your options right now? Somebody goes through my deal navigator. Hey, out of curiosity, what got you interested in looking in Kansas City? That is your first real question. You're inviting them to share their motivation or the problem behind their interest. And the key here is curiosity, not interrogation, because we've all been on sales calls that says, what's your timeline? How fast can you move? What kind of pain is that causing you? Fantastic. I'll send you over an order form right now. And you click and you get off the phone. And you never talk to that person ever again, right? You do not want to interrogate people here. This is going to help you understand the emotional why, which is going to guide the rest of the conversation. Okay, we get that. We're now moving to a little bit closer to what we call solution awareness. But a lot of times we stop that first call right there and we say, hey, I know I called you out of the blue. I probably see you are really, really busy. I totally understand that. But based on what you shared, here's what I would recommend. And I'd love to spend some more time unpacking that. So now that you've heard what they're navigating, you provide a quick, tailored insight that helps them see how you can help solve their problems. This is not a full pitch. It's a teaser of what's working with what you would look like, right? What working with you would look like. Okay, and that's going to position you as that trusted advisor. Okay, then we're offering the next step, right? The soft close. If it makes sense, the next step would be a strategy session. The next step would be you sending me some information. Typically, in the way that this process goes, this again elevates your status. Typically, the next step would be to do X, would be to do Y. You're offering that next step without pressure. It's not Do you want to list your building? It's a strategy session. It's low pressure. It's high value. Hey, I'm just here to help you evaluate your options. Should you refinance? Should you get a lease up? Should you paint the building? Should you try to raise the rents or keep your occupancy where it needs to go? Where is your occupancy? What's the capital markets like right now? Those are all things that you're going to bring to the table. So you're asking for a commitment to a conversation, not a contract. Remember that. You're asking for a commitment to a conversation and not a contract. We're sitting here talking about one, five, $10 million transaction. You're not going to one call close somebody, but you could get enough trust built with them to get the next conversation that's going to keep the process moving. So that's the anatomy of the script. That's the 4 or 5 steps that we like to go through. And again, each one of those is a strategy session in and of itself, is a session and a module in our mastermind that we go into deep process with. We actually have custom GPTs to allow you to build your own scripts utilizing NEPQ and neuro emotional persuasive questioning. And we've got it all trained up just on the Broker's Mastermind process.
Yeah, Logan has done an absolutely phenomenal job of starting to integrate AI into commercial real estate brokerage. I mean, I feel like every single call that we have, I'm sitting there going, damn, I'm so far behind. The amount of AI that I need to be implementing in my business, it's amazing. Um, those scripts are great. They really help. And if nothing else, it gives you a way to just ask for the damn business. So many people get too nervous or they don't think about it and they don't just come out and ask for that next conversation or they don't ask for the
Mm.
next meeting. They don't ask for the business. You got to do it and you got to do it the right way. You know, we mentioned it a couple of times tonight, but we've helped so many commercial real estate brokers go through this process. You know, when I was first getting started in commercial real estate, it was frustrating. I mean, it was back in 2013. I think that there were probably 3 books on Amazon. There were 2
Mm.
podcasts, and one of them had actually stopped recording the year before, back in 2012, which is really frustrating because it was such a good podcast. And there were no YouTube videos. And I started off at a boutique commercial real estate brokerage. So we didn't have the resources in house, at least my brokerage didn't, to really train me or give me everything that I needed. And nobody else on any other team wanted to work with me because I'm the competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't see it that way, but they certainly did. And it was really frustrating for me. And so that's why Logan and I decided to create the Brokers Mastermind and start educating commercial real estate brokers on all of this stuff. Because at the end of the day, there's enough deals to go around for everybody, right? And we've got brokers that are all over the country that aren't even competing. It's a pretty amazing group of people. So to recap what we've covered here tonight, your path to premium listings. Number one, be the authority. Go out and start climbing your authority ladder. How are you going to go out and share your expertise today? 2, create the lead magnets. Start
Mm.
putting them out there. Start sharing them. It doesn't matter if you start off with 5 people on your newsletter. Make that newsletter so damn good that all 5 of those people want to share it with somebody else. You'll double it overnight. And of course, get Logan's scripts. They are amazing. We're going to send everybody a copy of those that has attended the webinar tonight. So if you register for the webinar, you're going to be getting those in your inbox.
Yeah,
Now,
and I also want to just say go back real quick, Tyler, because on this part, the authority ladder. Okay, we have a 6-week program inside the Brokers Mastermind that is a roadmap. If you're starting from nowhere, zero, like Tyler and I did 7, 8, 9 years ago, to creating a 6-week framework to say, here's how you generate inbound, but supplement it with outbound, right? And by week 6, now the brokers that we've gone through this are saying, hey, I got 3 to 5 inbound leads per week that are coming through my lead magnets, right? That is crucial to create, right? The lead magnet works while you aren't, okay? And there's now the ability to integrate a CRM that has AI chatbot that's trained up on you, your market, anything that you decide to put on it. And you can be texting with people on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. while you're coaching 4-year-old soccer. I'm talking about myself here. Okay. That's me. I've got text messages going out. with people who see a sign, that see my listing somewhere that's going on. And on Monday morning, I'm checking in to see, hey, who do I need to call, right? We can also help you understand when you get to the point of saying, hey, I've got 5, 7, 10 leads, in listings. What do I do to make sure I'm executing, but also fishing and also hunting effectively? So now it's time to start thinking about you becoming a leader and finding a brokerage coordinator or an admin, right? We've got people that are going through that whole process. And then, yes, the scripts are extremely important. They're extremely important because it gives you confidence. That's what you need. And we have themes in the Broker Mastermind. And our only theme since we have started has been one, and it is confidence. I have not moved it. It has been confidence. It has been confidence. And it has been confidence. Because the more confidence you have in yourself, the more people are going to see that, feel that, hear that, and they're going to be able to want to work with you because you're elevating that status. So, anyways, those are the three. But we train on this on a weekly basis, and I'm just thinking about 7 different subpoints of each one of these that we have resources and frameworks to actually go through and get you started off correctly.
I love that. Now, guys, you got a choice, right? You can take the route that Logan and I took, right? Which is to do it yourself. Slow, trial and error. We figured it out. You'll be able to figure it out, right? But the whole thing, what we've built is to make it way faster for you. Instead of having, I mean, I made $40,000 in commissions my first year. I made $40,000 at 500. $40,500 my second year. Uh, whereas we got Emily to close a $1.4 million deal on her first one, right? Way faster. So you could shortcut the process with our done for you guided system. And that's the Brokers Mastermind, right? It's an exclusive community that's dedicated to empowering commercial real estate brokers to achieve 7-figure earnings and master wealth preservation. Like Logan was saying, he's teaching brokers every single week how to close bigger deals, how to make more in commissions so that you can also flip to the investor side, right? Our slogan is earn a million, keep a million, and invest a million. And that's exactly what everybody gets into commercial real estate brokerage for, but they're
Mm-hmm.
never given the actual playbook or a true path as to how to do that. Inside the Brokers Mastermind, you'll get weekly group coaching calls. Logan is crushing these. Sometimes they'll go for like 2.5 hours. It's insane. We have amazing discussions on them. You get quarterly in-person workshops. Our next one is in Nashville. We're going to be here for like what, June 20th through the 22nd, the entire weekend. We're going to have deal pitches. It's 8 sessions on underwriting and deal analysis. It's going to be a phenomenal weekend. We'll probably have 60 or 70 people there. An annual mastermind retreat so that you can come and get ready for the following year, get your goals together, and get ready to take action. An online resource library. If you have a question on something, chances are good Logan and I have already talked about it. And if we haven't, we're going to go ahead and have that conversation to make sure that you have everything that you need. And on top of all of that, and this may actually be one of the more valuable things about the Brokers Mastermind, are the accountability pods. You will be paired off with other commercial real estate brokers from around the country to have a call once a week, once every couple of weeks, whatever that pod does, so that you guys can dig even further into becoming better commercial real estate brokers. The value just keeps on stacking. Again, like I said, this is exactly what Logan and I wish that we had when we were starting out. So to join the Brokers Mastermind, it's $10,000. That gives you lifetime access. But tonight, since you guys joined us on this webinar, we're going to give it to you for $8,000 or $800 a month, right? So that's 20% off just for having attended this with us. We're also going to give you a 30-day risk-free guarantee. Come in, hang out with us. If you decide it's not for you, that's totally fine. Logan and I will wish you the best, and we'll see you next time. So if you want to join the Brokers Mastermind, take your commercial real estate brokerage skills to the next level, scan that QR code right there, schedule a call with me. If you book it tonight, as long as it's booked by Friday, and I only have a few slots available by Friday, you'll get that discount. But there's more. If you go ahead and sign up using that QR code tonight, and you just go direct to checkout, because I know a lot of y'all have been following us along for the Brokers Mastermind since we launched it back in October. You can go direct to checkout and get another $1,000 off. So with that being said, Logan and I are going to open it up for Q&A. Y'all feel free to drop your questions in the live chat, and we'll get around to it. Saya saying, "Hey there, guys. Hey, Saya. Thanks for being here." She's saying, "Thank you very much for just existing. We appreciate that, as always." I'm going to move this right there.
Yeah. So on the has anybody left the brokers mastermind? The answer is yes, and here's why. When the federal government required people to go back to work, we had two individuals that were working on real estate on the side as a side hustle, building their business, and they got pulled back into the office 7 days or 5 days out of the week, whatever it is. And so, yeah, they had to drop out, and it was a life change that they had to drop out, but they left incredible testimonials and actually introduced us to two or three other individuals that were interested in joining. So that is the deal. I mean, life happens. We get that. We'll work with you on that front. But in regards to anybody leaving over the last 6 months, not a chance. If anything, they've referred more people to us. And Tyler and I could open this up to the masses and have 500 people in this thing. That's not what we're trying to do. You get direct access via WhatsApp, via LinkedIn group to every single person that's in the group. I mean, the deals that are happening between the brokers now is just fascinating to see, right? Somebody says, "Hey, I got an institutional buyer for industrial real estate, off market in these subsectors of these markets," and deals are happening through that. So as it grows, people are doing transactions, they're working together, and they're bringing that. And yes, you do get the opportunity to say, "Hey, I've got an opportunity that I need help underwriting." Every single session, we probably have 20 to 30 minutes that we are actually going into deals, helping people get them underwritten and get them positioned correctly, and then building marketing materials based off of that, utilizing the tools that we have, and getting those done on the calls. And they're going out and winning business. So, I mean, it is incredible to see what's happening within the group now that we've been going for 6 months, and it just kind of pays for itself at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. I mean, I take. I mean, I probably take away as much as everybody else does every time we have a call. I'm sure Logan does too, because I mean, when you get that diverse of a group together that's doing commercial real estate brokerage in different capacities all over the country, everybody has different experiences to share, and it becomes really cool. And yeah, I mean, with regards to scaling it to thousands of people, I mean that QR code that says schedule a call with Tyler is actually with me. So
Mm.
I'm purposefully bottlenecking this because we don't really want it to get that big. We'd rather keep it smaller, intimate, and a better learning experience for everybody. Brandon is saying, "I'm just learning as I go. I just fell into 13 20 plus acre residential and commercial developments here in DFW." Congrats, Brandon. That's that's a hell of a thing to fall into, man. I love it.
Hey, Brandon, if you're still here, one of our mastermind members is a land subdivision person in Houston, Texas, and does, I don't know, 7 to 10 large types of those deals. You would get access to Matt and to Melissa, who are both in Texas, doing those types of transactions on a regular basis, so that you could take those 13, if that's true. Maybe it's 13 to 20 plus, but if you truly have 13, 20 plus acre residential and commercial developments, they'd be able to hook you up with the right people, partner up, and get things done.
Yeah, that's killer. Justin saying, "Amazing info so far. Thank you, fellas." Brian, hey guys, how are y'all this evening? Man, we're doing great. This is I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You guys can tell I'm probably not in the studio. And Logan and I are like, you know what? Let's just go live and let's just start talking to people about what we're doing here. So that being said, I mean, Logan, any final parting thoughts for everybody?
Yeah, a lot. I think that one thing I have to do is talk less, and I'm working on that. But the biggest component is, when I got started in commercial real estate brokerage, I had the idea that, like, I was going to represent 1031 exchange buyers, and I went to a broker in the office, the managing broker, and they said, "Don't do that. You're going to waste your time, and you're going to deal with nothing but tire kickers." And I said, "Well, maybe, but that's also a blue ocean because everybody's thinking that same way." And so what I did is I created the most rudimentary buyer's representation success system. And I did $80 million representing 1031 exchange buyers on listed properties in Kansas City. I outsold the rest of that brokerage combined for 2 years straight. They sent me on vacations, and I said, I'm on to something. So if you can find pain points like that are dealing with things that other people are saying, hey, I can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, that is something you should pour into. But now Tyler and I have been there. We have done that and said, no, truly that's something you should not do, or truly that is something you should do. Prime example was today. Gentleman named Sebastian finds me. We have a conversation. He said, hey, I'm in residential real estate. I'm trying to get into the commercial side. Where I'm stuck is I feel like there's such a big, ocean of what I should focus on. Well, I said, you know what, Sebastian? We have created a whole process called finding your lucrative niche within our brokers mastermind. I'll share that with you just because I think you're a young hustler and you're here in Kansas City, and maybe you'll join my brokerage at some point, but I don't care if you do or you don't. But I'm going to help you analyze the last 2 years worth of transactions. How many deals were done? What was the volume? How many brokers did that? And I have a threshold. We have a threshold that says if it's under 5 or above 5, and I'm going to leave it at that because you got to join to get to find your lucrative niche framework to actually do that, right? And so now we've got 6 different lucrative niches that we need to evaluate, utilizing and backed by data to help him to focus on where he's going to build his business at. Just that alone is worth the $7,000, $8,000 that you are going to get just to say, here's where you should focus on, here's how to do it. It's going to save you years and potentially months. I mean, the numbers don't lie. 90% of real estate brokers fail. 90%. And that is probably the reason why is they're not clear on what they need to focus on. So I would say I would just leave you with that is clarity is something that we try to create for each and every individual that joins the Brokers Mastermind. And that's an extremely important place to start.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important. I mean, you've got to be intentional, right? If nothing else, you've got to be intentional. And everyone here has an expertise, right? I mean, if you take nothing away from tonight, it's that if you've been in commercial real estate for 3 years or more, you're as close to an expert as just about anybody else. If you're just getting started in commercial real estate and you've been doing it for a month, you're more of an expert on commercial real estate than like 99% of people. So
Mm-hmm.
start sharing that information. It is good information, even if you're just sharing the fact that you're learning stuff, right? People love to be on the journey with you. They love to see the behind the scenes. That's how I started growing my Instagram account back in 2016 and 2017. I just started sharing the behind the scenes of commercial real estate in Nashville, right? That's all it was. Everybody wanted to know, oh, what's in that vacant building over there that's been sitting like that for years? What's going on? What's the new hot restaurant that's coming into town? A lot of fun. It's like once you start really framing it in that show don't tell aspect, you get some really cool things out of it. It just makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Mm. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Guys,
Brandon, I appreciate that feedback. Got to close on one before you can drop the cash. We had a couple folks actually say that to us at the beginning when we launched the Brokers Mastermind. They decided to join, and now they've closed 2 or 3 of those transactions actually through the group and the connections that they made there. So just keep that in mind. Again, we are not hard pitching selling. We know this works, and we're here. We're doing this on a regular basis, bringing the value. And I think that's something that you should keep in mind. But the question would become price versus cost, right? What's the cost of not getting those 13 real estate deals done that could completely change your life, right? That's extremely important to think about.
yeah, well, and that's one of the reasons why we offer the $800 a month for 12 months option. We don't typically do that, right? So it's typically pay in full. Maybe we'll work out a payment plan if you've got some really compelling reason for it. But Brandon, yeah, if you wanted to join, take advantage of the $800 a month for 12 months. You've got that there. But other than that, guys, we will leave you with this. Go out, close some deals, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh wait, we got one more. We got one more question. Coro
Great
Group is
question, too.
saying, yeah, are new members mixed with the past members? Is there a training syllabus or course framework to follow? Logan, you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So new members are mixed right in with past members. Okay, this is lifetime access. So you're getting access to folks that have been in here for 6 months. Tyler and I, once folks start to elevate and educate themselves and get through and are doing a certain amount of transactions, we'll create a different group for those folks to get into, right? However, the question becomes, Is there a training syllabus or course framework to follow? 100%. There's multiple courses actually that you get in this. We have a 12 weeks to break into commercial real estate course. We have Tyler's real estate investing course that you're going to get access to. And there is a course syllabus. However, what we learned, the Coro group, is that the course syllabus that Tyler and I have, we want it to be dictated by what is actually important to the members. So we're constantly polling the members. What guest speakers do you have? We didn't even talk about that tonight. We have some of the best monthly guest speakers coming into our group, CEOs of companies that are talking about it. We had Whataburger's corporate team out of Tennessee come talk about how to get Whataburger's your sites in front of Whataburger. Like, how cool is that, right? So yes, we have a course syllabus. It's broken down by quarter. So quarter one is always going to be about how to fill that funnel. Quarter two is going to be how to execute on deals. Quarter three is how to make sure you're hunting and you're fishing at the same time. Quarter four, what went well, and we do amazing work in regards to accountability. So every 90 days, we have the whole group building out their accountability goals. We have built out, we didn't even talk about this, commercial real estate broker success formula work that tracks all you need to stay accountable to yourself. So we have a course syllabus, we follow it roughly, but we're always asking the group, hey, what is it that is most important to you right now? And we're basing the content basically off of that. And so we want to make sure that we're keeping it fresh, because I'll give you a great example. Right before the tariffs hit, I decided I'm going to present for 35 minutes on the impact of tariffs on commercial real estate. And everybody, all 25 people's eyes were just glazed over for 35 minutes. And nothing happened for 3 weeks, but then boom, 3 weeks later, we had a framework how to talk about tariffs. We had a framework on how it was going to impact retail, industrial, multifamily, development, all of it. And all of our brokers were commenting back to us, thank you so much for preparing us for the conversations around tariffs, right? And so that was something that was like, hey, I want to talk about that because I think it's important, and I'm still going to push it through because I know it's important, even though it might glaze people's eyes over. So we have things like that we're absolutely bringing on a regular basis.
Yeah, and here in the background, I'm showing you guys kind of the behind the scenes of like the actual course materials. You can access all of every single coaching call we've ever had is recorded. This is 12 weeks to break into CRE. This is a pretty intense course that Logan and I put together, where we talk about everything from, leasing 101 to, I think at some point Logan talks about the ins and outs of syndication, right? I mean, we get pretty into it. I mean, building effective offering memorandums. And so you've actually got, here's a 22-minute class. There's a summary to it. And then there's also a download with a syllabus. I think that's up here actually. There's a download with the syllabus of all of the additional content that we're telling you need to go check out, right? So it's not just what's in that video. It's also well, if it'll show. Oh, it's not going to show on Mac. So I mean, there's just a ton. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, there it is. There's a whole lot that's in there. I mean, you could see that's just weeks 1 and 2 of content that we're telling you, read and you go dive into. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of stuff in there. It's really not just, Logan and I jumping onto these calls. I mean, there's a whole bunch of information.
Every single call is recorded, transcribed, and created into an ebook. Okay, so after every call, 2 days later, you will get a summary. So if you missed a call, for example, you can get into the platform, you can review the call on your morning walk, on your lunchtime, whatever. If you don't have time to do that, great. We are creating ebooks for every single session with the wins, with the challenges, what was covered, the key takeaways, and what we're covering next. So there's a summary email sent out to everyone that has nicely branded, easy to read, formatted information, not just a transcript that is sent out. It's an actual ebook format for every single call after it's done. So you can digest this information any way that you possibly decide to.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. It's drinking from a fire hose. Some of these calls I have to go back and watch because I'm like, man, we covered so much good information there. Well, awesome, guys. Appreciate you all joining us for an hour tonight on a Wednesday night. Thank you for taking your time and spending your time with us. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can go to brokersmastermind.com. We'll keep these webinars coming. So if you have any ideas on trainings that you would like for us to give to you, that you would like to take, drop them in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next one.